good story, a very good story. The funny thing about this, if it were not true, Jesus would not have said some of the things he said. So I believe this is a true account of some things that actually happened. Okay. And this is why we're so grateful to God for salvation, because of what he has provided for us. As we read this story, think about what God has done for you. Okay. There was a rich man who was dressed in purple and fine linen and lived in luxury every day. At his gate was laid a beggar named Lazarus, covered with sores. And longing to eat what fell from the rich man's table, even the dogs came and licked his sores. The time came when the beggar died, and the angels carried him to Abraham's side. The rich man also died and was buried. In Hades, where he was in torment, he looked up and saw Abraham far away with Lazarus by his side. So he called to him, Father Abraham, have pity on me and send me Lazarus to dip the tip of his finger in water and cool my tongue, because I am in agony in this fire. But Abraham replied, Son, remember that in your lifetime you received your good things, while Lazarus received bad things. But now he is comforted here, and you are in agony. And besides all this, between us and you, a great chasm has been set in place, so that those who want to go from here to you cannot, nor can anyone cross over from there to us. He answered, Then I beg you, Father, send Lazarus to my family, for I have 5 brothers. Let him warn them, so that they will not also come to this place of call. Abraham replied, They have Moses and the prophets. Let them listen to them. No, Father Abraham, he said, but if someone from the dead goes to them, they will repent. He said to him, if they do not listen to Moses and the prophets, they will not be convinced, even if someone rises from the dead. This is the word of God. I want to talk this morning from the subject of chasing pleasure. Chasing pleasure, or chasing satisfaction. Same difference. I want to talk from that subject. I remember back when I was in high school not many years ago, I was a sophomore at Joseph S. Clark Senior High School. And thinking back on this time, just thinking about life. In my life, I have made some good decisions, and I've gotten good results, but I've also made some bad decisions and had to deal with some bad consequences. Well, one day in particular at Clark Senior High School, the teacher was giving instructions. And for some reason, Ben Causey, myself, could not follow those instructions. And I got in trouble. And it was so severe, it's something that I remember even to this day. Let's think about this. Who are some of the most popular music artists of our day? The most popular at the top of the charts. Give me 3. Drake. Okay, I got Drake. Future. Who else? Give me one more. Huh? Give me one more.
Young Dolph.
I don't know who that is. I can't even say that. Give me one more. I got Drake. I got Future. Give me one more. Somebody said Wiz Khalifa. Y'all agree with that? Y'all agree with that?
French Montana.
Okay, somebody said Kirk. Somebody said Kirk Franklin. Okay.
French Montana.
So we got Drake. We got who was all on Future, and we got Kirk Franklin. We got our three. So imagine this. In my time, there was a group that was as popular as all of those artists, and not belong to me, on the day when I got in trouble, guess what? That group made a surprise visit to Joseph S. Clark Senior High School. And guess who could not attend because he could not listen? Me. So I could see the crowds going to the gymnasium for this event, but I could not go in. As the crowds accumulated, and they began to shout, and the roar went throughout the whole gymnasium. I could hear all that, but I could not see what was going on. Guess what? Because I didn't know how to listen, I didn't know how to follow instructions, and because I was in trouble, I missed out on that. Similar to that, but even more severe. In our story today, we have a man, a rich man. He's not named, but Lazarus is named. That's why we know this was a true occurrence. Lazarus was named, but the rich man wasn't named. The rich man, he had a wonderful life. He had an awesome life. If in his time there had been a show called The Rich and Famous, he would have been on that show showing off his house. What's the show they used to have on MTV where everybody showed off all their cars, their house, and all the big closets? What is it called?
MTV Cribs.
Cribs. It's called Cribs. I don't think it comes on anymore. You see a lot of rebroadcasts, but nothing new. This rich man had so much going on for himself that if Cribs had been going on in his day, he would have been on there. He'd have been showing off all his stuff. He'd have had his been walk-in closet that's bigger than most people's master bedrooms. He would have had wall-to-wall clothing, the best that money could buy. He would have had shoes, all you know how y'all do it with all the Nikes, all the Jordans, the vintage Jordans, the one that nobody could buy. He would have had all that stuff. He would have went out to his garage and he would have showed off all of his luxury cars, you know, Maseratis, Ferraris, Lamborghinis, custom interior, custom wheels, all that stuff. Gourmet style kitchen with the chef and everything where he just goes in there and gets whatever he wants. He would have had all that stuff because this was a rich man. As the Bible tells us, this rich man had fine clothing for every day, and he ate well every day. He did not miss a meal, and he had the best that money could buy. But something happened to that rich man. What happened to that rich man?
He got broke.
He died. He died. Now there was another person who was juxtaposed to him. His life was totally opposite of the rich man. And what was that man's name? Lazarus. Lazarus was poor. Lazarus was hungry. And they laid him at the rich man's gate, hoping that Lazarus would just get something to eat. And the Bible tells us that Lazarus was so hungry that he would just dream and fantasize and say to himself, if only I could just get some crumbs from the rich man's table. But he couldn't even get that. He was covered in sores all over his body. He must have had some kind of condition. Now, the rich man was covered in fine clothing. Probably had the best medical care that money could buy. But Lazarus was covered in sores and laid at the rich man's gate. The rich man died. Lazarus died. Lazarus had something that the rich man did not have.